Some of the world's longest non-stop flights involve the United States, a handful of which are ultra-long-haul. While definitions vary, this is usually taken to mean flights that take more than 16 hours. Inevitably, some services are operated by the niche Airbus A350-900 and the Boeing 777-200 These variants are of course designed for such missions, although both types have proven quite unpopular in terms of sales. However, other equipment, including the A350-1000 and 787-9, both famed for their long ranges and economics, are also deployed. And so, for today's video, let's take a look at the 10 longest non-stop routes to and from the United States. First off, a bit of background information about our list. Our 10 routes are organised by maximum block time, which is chocks off to chocks on. This includes taxi time at both airports, flight time, and a period for short delays. The cut-off time is 17 hours and 5 minutes, which sadly means that the US's longest 747 passenger flight did not feature. As always, things change depending on how you look at them. For starters, analysing other times of the year may result in different entries, particularly for those airport pairs lower down on the list. This is especially the case in the winter, which usually involves stronger headwinds and therefore a higher block time. Block time is a fairly good way to rank the longest flights rather than geographical distance. That's because airspace bands could see one slightly shorter route being much longer in practice. Additionally, as you'll see from our list, some airlines don't make the list because they aren't subject to airspace bans compared to competing airlines. Another consideration with block time is that it tends to only apply one way, with the same route flown in the opposite direction being a few hours shorter. We'll be sure to make clear which direction we're talking about for our routes. And so, going from 10th longest to the longest, the 10th spot goes to Qatar Airways and its daily A350-1000 service from Doha to Los Angeles. This has a block time of 17 hours and 5 minutes. This route has been operated by the One World carrier for quite some time now and was actually launched on January 1st, 2016. When it launched, the new route featured the airline's Boeing 777-200 and represented Qatar Airways' first passenger service to the west coast of the United States. The higher capacity 777-300 has appeared at times, while the A350-1000's debut was in June 2020. Next up, in 8th/9th spot is Delhi to New York JFK at 17 hours 15 minutes. Air India operates this route 6 times weekly, or sometimes daily, using the Airbus A350-900. Air India's inaugural A350 service on this route took place on November 1st, 2024. American and United also operate between Delhi and the New York area. However, the reason these airlines aren't on the list is due to shorter block times. That's because they are not subject to the Pakistani airspace ban. And tied with Delhi-New York for 8th/9th space is Dallas-Fort Worth to Sydney. Operated by Qantas using the Airbus A380 or Boeing 787-9, this is a daily service. Qantas welcomed its inaugural A380 service from Dallas-Fort Worth to Sydney on August 1st, 2014. The 17-hour, 20-minute service from Mumbai to San Francisco is our 7th longest to or from the US. This is operated 4 times weekly by Air India using the 777-200 This route was launched in mid-December 2022. 3 routes actually share spots 4, 5 and 6 as they all have a block time of 17 hours 35 minutes. These routes are as follows: Air India's Delhi to Newark with the A350-900, Singapore Airlines Los Angeles to Singapore with the A350-900, and Qantas's Dallas-Fort Worth to Melbourne using the 787-9. Reaching the top 3, the third longest is 18 hours flat and takes travellers from New York JFK to Auckland. 2 airlines actually operate this route with the same aircraft type, the Boeing 787-9. Air New Zealand serves the city pair 3 times weekly, while Qantas operates it 5 times weekly. For Australian carrier Qantas, flights continue back to Sydney, with Fifth Freedom traffic right between Auckland and JFK. Air New Zealand launched its direct Auckland-JFK service in September 2022. Qantas made its return to New York via Auckland in June 2023. Qantas has served New York for years, operating a Sydney LAX JFK route using Boeing 747s up until 2018. In second spot is the 19-hour 10-minute service from Newark to Singapore. This is operated by Singapore Airlines daily using the A350-900 ULR. Service to Newark took to the skies from Changi Airport on October 11, 2018. And finally, the longest route out of the United States is another Singapore Airlines service from the New York City area, its flight to Singapore Changi from JFK. This has a block time of 19 hours and 15 minutes and uses the A350-900 ULR. This airport pair has been long-standing for Singapore Airlines. The flights, currently the longest in the world, were operated by the airline from June 2004 to November 2013 using an Airbus A340-500. After a hiatus, service was relaunched in October 2018 using an Airbus A350-900. Singapore Airlines Newark and Kennedy services famously use the 161-seat A350-900 ULR variant, which is configured with 67 seats in business class and 94 in premium economy. To help with appeal, comfort, fares and yields, regular economy is unavailable on the very expensive-to-operate route. Looking at our list, we can see that Air India appears several times. Indeed, 3 of the Star Alliance members' routes are featured: Delhi to Newark, Mumbai to San Francisco, and Delhi to New York JFK. The inclusion of the 2 East Coast US airports is because Air India must avoid Pakistani airspace, which increases the maximum block times and operating expenses significantly, while reducing the carrier's competitiveness. While the Air India service from Delhi to Newark is timed at up to 17 hours 35 minutes and JFK is up to 17 hours 15 minutes, Cirium data shows the block times were no more than 14 hours 45 minutes last July. That's quite a lot of extra time flying and fuel burned due to an airspace ban. And then of course we have to acknowledge that the 5-minute difference between the Changi JFK and Changi Newark services is negligible. With the airports relatively close to each other, the amount of time spent on Singapore Airlines A350-900 ULRs will vary from flight to flight due to various operational factors and weather. This will potentially result in a longer flight to Newark one day and a longer flight to JFK another day. One other thing we can see from this list is that the Boeing 787-9 and A350-900 are the main aircraft of choice for long and ultra-long haul services. This is due to their efficient operations thanks to modern engines, modern avionics and advanced materials, making for lighter aircraft when compared to previous generations. So, what do you think of the longest routes by block time to and from the US? Which of these have you personally experienced? Let us know by leaving a comment. In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles and a podcast every week. Visit simpleflying.com.